Every story begins with a spark. A single page, a single voice, a single chapter. Welcome to Chapter 1, where our authors take you on the journey in their own words. Settle in, listen closely. This is where the adventure begins.
Whiskers in the Dark, Book 2, Cat City, by Nick Smith. Chapter 1, The Milky Way, in which the cats get the cream. Dawn approached. The dairy was silent, ready for the sun to rise and reveal it like an unwrapped gift. As amber twilight caught the building's chrome corners, a group of small figures approached. They trotted up to the dairy gates, hundreds of fuzzy silhouettes gathering expectantly. There was time still for them to greet each other, but pleasantries were kept to a minimum. The gates rose high above them, fat metal panels on massive hinges. The visitors licked their lips as they dreamed of what lay within. Eva Rote was woken by the sound of crying. She was used to this. It had become part of her routine since she'd reopened her dairy, and she barely emitted a sigh as she got off her cushion, washed, and mentally prepared herself for another day's work. After a hasty breakfast of biscuits and gravy, Evie slunk from her home behind the dairy across a neatly swept, tiled courtyard. With a bat of her paw, she operated the lever that opened the iron gates, letting in a flood of mewing, preening male cats. The toms circled Eva, blinked their hellos at her, flashing their briskets and sniffing the air. She pretended not to notice their attentions. The sun was high enough to strike the yard by now. Some of the visitors closed their eyes, enjoying their early morning warmth. They didn't stop for long. They had some serious begging to do, though Eva wouldn't choose any of them. One of the cats rubbed himself against a delivery cart full to the brim with packs of butter. "Paws off," said Eva, moving toward the miscreant and setting off a ripple in her pool of followers. "You know there's only a place for one of you today. Now which is it to be?" The larger, stronger toms had already muscled close to Eva, pushing their weaker competition back toward the gates. But the Dairy Queen needed more than brawn. She looked the black cats in the eye, searching for an extra spark of intelligence and charm. She found it in an unlikely candidate, a scrawny old tabby with silver-grey fur, deep green eyes, and a wrinkled nose. She selected him with a nod, and the other cats, respecting her decision, trickled out of the courtyard. They knew they'd get another chance the next day. "I hate to disappoint them," Eva said, partly to the tabby, mostly to herself, "but they know how scarce work is at the moment. I'd give jobs to as many as I can, and if you work hard today, I might be able to find a place for you here when things pick up." "I'll do whatever I can," said the tabby. "My name's Julius Kyle." Eva wrote, "Everyone around here calls me Lady Boss, you included. Follow me, there's a lot to be done." She turned, sticking her tail straight in the air, and Julius followed it close. The tail led him to a white building with a convex roof. Inside, Eva showed him the place of his dreams, a warehouse with vats of cream, churning tubs of butter, and hundreds of canisters of milk. "Where do I start?" Julius asked, eyes wide. "That trough in the corner." Eva indicated a pair of young cats standing in a long aluminium tray full of cream. They were lifting their paws up and down, whisking the liquid with their claws. "I've got to get in there," Julius frowned. "It's better than waiting in line outside the gates. Besides, you get to lick your fur clean afterwards." That sold the idea to Julius. He padded over the trough, blinked a greeting at the two Whiskers, and wedged his way in between them. Yellow clumps formed as the butterfat particles stuck together. As the cream thickened, Julius began to tread harder, resisting the urge to purr. Satisfied that her newest recruit would behave himself, Eva returned to the courtyard, where she found another employee. This one wasn't so industrious. He was curled up in a sun patch, taking a morning nap. "Brian, have you even started your chores?" Eva spat, making her son jump. "I was taking a quick break," Brian replied, sullen. I know you and your naps. Clean the tubs out first. Brian, a skinny runt with his fur in clumps, licked his nose and slowly walked towards a barrel. The container was suspended from the ceiling with ropes, which, through a system of pulleys, left their ends dangling just above the treaders' heads. As the cats jumped up to snatch at the ropes, the barrel shook from side to side. One cat stayed in reserve, ready to take over when the others grew tired. After a while, those yellow clumps thickened in a sugaring pool of white buttermilk. Julius removed the clumps and doused them in cold water, allowing them to harden into butter. He licked his lips as he eyed the leftover sweet buttermilk dripping into a separate wooden box. Brian watched the whole process, bored and unhelpful. He kept his ears cocked in case his mother was coming, but he knew she'd be busy with paperwork all morning. Make sure you scrub those barrels clean, Brian mewed. All the tubs, too. We could do it a lot quicker if you helped us out, Julius scowled, introducing himself to the young scallywag. Brian arched his back. You're new here. You don't know how things go. You've got one chance to listen and learn. I've been doing my job, supervising you all day, to make sure you freeloaders don't snaffle up half the day's profits. I oversee and I delegate. We'll see what Eva has to say. Julius tried to push his way past Brian, but the young cat stopped him, claws popping from his forepaws. With a sigh of resignation, Julius mirrored the action. The other two cats sank onto their haunches, watching the show. Brian scratched at Julius, nicking the tabby's chin. Julius parried the next swipe, baring his teeth in annoyance. He moved fast for an old Tom, relying on muscle memory to defend himself. You're too slow. You gotta go, Brian chanted, his furry tummy jiggling with mirth. You're too slow. You gotta go. Julius took him by surprise, pouncing on the exposed belly, knocking the runt against an open milk churn. Coated with milk, the cats rolled across the floor, scrabbling for a dominant position. The noise summoned Eva, who halted the squabble with one low growl. The scrappers didn't look at each other. They washed themselves, enjoying the milk on their fur, despite their predicament. Get out of here, Eva hissed. Julius didn't budge. I mean you, the new guy. You've had your chance. What about my pay? Julius asked as he padded past her. I worked hard today. She placed a paw on his shoulder, wiped a drop from his shoulder, and flicked it in his eye. You got your wages all over yourself. Get going.
The first chapter has been read, but the story has only just begun. Join us again for more voices, more worlds, more Chapter 1.